It's time for the Las Vegas Sportsline. Brought to you by Caesars Entertainment, where every guest is treated like Caesar and every visit is unforgettable.
All right, here we go. The Wednesday edition of the Las Vegas Sportsline. It is brought to you by Caesars Entertainment, and their Director of Trading, Jeff Davis, is with us right now, along with Marco D'Angelo. I'm Dave Cook and Jared Justice producing today's show. And big news right at the top, guys. We have a new basketball coach at UNLV. TJ Otzelberger is taking over, departing South Dakota State, where he had some success, and coming here to the desert. So let's weigh in with our thoughts on this. Jeff, what do you think?
That's a mixed bag for me. He's not the big splash that we had talked about a few weeks ago with maybe getting Rick Pitino, but he's clearly taken a smaller school and turned it into a yearly winner in the Summit. So, I mean, there's some positives in it, too.
For me, Dave, I agree with we needed a big name. UNLV right now is at a crossroads in the sports landscape of Las Vegas, in my opinion. They're back page material right now, and when the Raiders get here, they're going to be even further back page. They needed to go out and get a name, I felt, to try to drum up the interest back in UNLV. I didn't even go to a game this year, and I always go to games during the basketball season. Just didn't have a desire.
Well, my take is very much like yours. I'm extremely disappointed. I thought, and I've written this several times, now I was a Pitino booster, and I realized, okay, maybe that's not the perfect hire. I understand why there's some detractors there, but I thought that the school had to hire somebody with some pizzazz, somebody who's going to make the phones at UNLV ring with the announcement with, hey, I want to get some season tickets. And while TJ Otzelberger has done a nice job at South Dakota State and might very well be an exciting coach from a standpoint of playing run-and-gun basketball, with run-and-rival hoops is exciting, this is just not this is not a move-the-needle hire at all. In fact, if you were trying to hire somebody who is not going to move the needle at all, congratulations, you succeeded. Because the general reaction around town, and I'm not talking about those of us who follow college basketball closely and might have a strong opinion on the abilities of Otzelberger as a coach. I'm talking about the casual fans. Their reaction to this is going to be who? They've never heard of this guy. And I thought, I'm with you, Marco, and Jeff, I thought this was a hire that was critical for them in terms of getting a name that would excite the local fan base.
Yeah, Dave, I can't see any casual fan that might go to a few games a year be jumping out of his seat to buy tickets to some of these conference games next year with this name.
All right, let's talk some tournament. By the way, Nate Oates has also moved. He signed an extension with Buffalo, but he is going, as expected, to a Power 5 school. He will be the new coach at Alabama. That is an exciting hire for the Crimson Tide. How'd the results from the house perspective go on the weekend stuff, Jeff?
You know, it was a good but not great weekend. We won the first 3 days, nothing huge but all solid, and then a chalky Sunday, especially the last 3 games on the board, all the favorites covering, all the parlays pay. Small loser on Sunday. Good news, the handle was through the roof. Everything was fantastic. Link parties, Planet Hollywood parties were packed to the gills. So all in all, it was a great weekend for Caesars.
All right. Now, this weekend, are all the tourists still in town, or does some leave after the first weekend? I'm wondering about what the game plan should be, particularly for locals or for those out of state who are listening right now, if they want to go to one of the Caesars properties and check out the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 action.
You see some same names that stay for a couple weeks, but for the most part, most of the tourists take off. You should have an easier time finding seats in all the books. The Link is still doing their special with the private seating and the couches and your own TVs. So if you want something maybe a little bit more, fun with a group of friends, Link's definitely a place to check out.
Well, Jeff, let's head to the Sweet 16 and start it off on Thursday night, and we got a good one right out of the gate. Purdue and Tennessee. How's the action on this one, and how are you seeing it?
The public is on Tennessee to some extent. There's no real sharp action either way. The number opened 1. It's drifted up to 1.5. Purdue's looked really dominant in both games they've played. Tennessee really struggled after halftime in both games. I'm not sure they're as good as their rankings said they were earlier in the season. Rick Barnes, history of failure in the tourney. I kind of think it continues. Purdue's on a little bit of run here, and it wouldn't surprise me if they get the victory.
Lots of experience for Purdue at this level. Now, they haven't succeeded at this level, but they've been there before, and that could help as well. Oregon is the upstart that's left in the tournament. They're the 12 seed. Everybody else is as advanced as expected, pretty much. But Oregon, under Dana Altman, doing a great job, red hot, now facing the best team they've faced all year in Virginia. And it looks from the number like, despite Oregon's tremendous success, and I know they were popular last weekend with the bettors, especially on Sunday against Irvine, it looks like bettors are bailing on the Ducks here and taking the favorite.
Yeah, we took early sharp money, Virginia minus 7.5. There was also some early sharp money over 118. We're at 119.5 now. The public's still lining up on Oregon.
Oh, okay.
The money is dead even, but the tickets are greater on Oregon, some bigger bets on Virginia. I think Virginia kind of got their the tournament jitters, I guess, which showed against Gardner-Webb in the first half. They came back to hammer them, and they were, excellent against Oklahoma. Their defense is out of this world. I lean the favorite in this one.
I want to stay on this game for a moment because you mentioned that there are more tickets on the Oregon side right now. So from that standpoint, we can classify them a little bit as a public dog. I know a lot of bettors love to go against public dogs in every sport. How's that philosophy work in the tournament?
It's kind of the same. You see the public dogs here and there, but Cal Irvine was a public and pro dog in the first game, the first day, and you saw what happened there. So the public dogs can pop up in the tournament, but it's been pretty chalky.
Okay.
Moving to the next one, I think this is an interesting matchup with Florida State, who has played so well in her first two games, but they had a pretty easy draw, in my opinion, to get where they're at. Now they face the real deal. It's Gonzaga, and I know revenge is a term that's overused in sports betting, but they did get knocked out of the tournament by this team last year.
I agree with you, Marco, on Florida State's draw. Dave and I have talked about it in past shows. Murray State, Morant's an excellent player, but not sure how good Murray State actually was as a team.
Right.
In this, like the previous game, public dog, public all over Florida State here. We're going to go in needing Gonzaga. The public blasted Gonzaga against Baylor a couple nights ago, and now that Gonzaga didn't get the money, they've switched allegiances, and they're going with Florida State.
I will be with you then because I'll be needing Gonzaga in this game myself. I think it's a very good matchup for them. We'll wait and see. This is, I don't know if this is going to be the most exciting game in the world, but if you want the chess match and the real gritty, smash mouth type of basketball game, Texas Tech and Michigan should give us that.
Absolutely. Two very well-coached sides. Sharps and squares on Michigan. This is an avalanche game. We opened minus 1.5. We're at minus 2 now. There's a whole lot of 1.5 still out there, and there still isn't any interest plus the 2. Generally, when this takes place, that number ends up going to 2.5 or maybe even 3. I would expect this number to rise as we get closer to game time. As far as my opinion, I think the number's spot on. Both of these teams play such excellent defense, a real grinder in my opinion.
Moving over to Friday, we've got LSU and Michigan State to get things started. LSU, they've had the distractions with the coach. The interim coach has been getting the job done. But, boy, if you want to talk about how much coaching factors in, you'd have to say on paper that this is the biggest mismatch coaching-wise in the Sweet 16 round.
Absolutely it is. From a basketball perspective, I can't figure this game out. Sharp and square on Sparty, although there's been just enough LSU money to keep us at 6. It pops up here and again. We can't seem to figure this game out. The number's 6 now. I'm not sure it goes all that much higher. Yeah, we don't have a good feel for this one.
Make sure and follow Jeff Davis, Director of Trading at Caesars Entertainment, on Twitter at @the_junkyard. And we'll move along to a conference matchup that's taking place in the Sweet 16. Virginia Tech, they're a whole team once again now that their outstanding point guard Robinson is healthy. Duke has got their superstar Zion Williamson back. They played each other in the regular season, but neither of those players was available for that game, so you really have to look at it from a completely different vantage point in terms of assessing what might take place here. There is some buzz right now around Buzz. Now, I wonder if this is a distraction. I'll get your opinion on it, Jeff. There's some... I don't know if there's anything to it or not, but there is some talk that Buzz Williams is the guy that Texas A&M is after to get their head coaching gig, and they might be able to offer way more money than Virginia Tech. So does that factor into what you're looking at in this game? I'm assuming it doesn't impact the number at all.
I read that, Dave, and it is interesting, but you've got your team in the Sweet 16 and you're playing Duke. I find it hard to believe a guy like Buzz Williams is going to look ahead to what might be next year. I think they'll be ready. This game opened 8. We took some early Virginia Tech money, +8. We're down to 7 now. All the small stuff is on Duke. We're absolutely inundated to Duke money line, like we were against Central Florida. That would have been massive for the book if UCF could have hung on, but we'll be rooting for the upset again on Friday.
Jeff, an interesting matchup with Houston and Kentucky. Of course, we know Kentucky's the name, and the casual bettor that hasn't followed college basketball all year, just jumped in now for March Madness. They're going to see Kentucky at this short number and think you're giving a gift away, but this Houston team is the real deal.
Houston is the real deal, and they've looked good in both of their games. Kentucky was all in to get by Wofford, albeit P.J. Washington didn't play. I'm not sure he's going to play in this one. If he doesn't play, that's a big loss for them. We hung Kentucky -3. We took an immediate bet, Houston +3. We're at 2.5. The market has kind of drifted back to 3, but there really isn't any sharp interest minus the 2.5. Makes me think Houston +3 is a good bet here.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. But I lean that way, but I don't know what to do with it. And my problem is I don't know. I have no idea what to expect from P.J. Washington. Does he play? Is he going to be completely limited in terms of the minutes he plays and his effectiveness, or is he going to be healthy? And it's such a difference maker for Kentucky, and I really think it showed in the Wofford game. I just don't know how to react to that. That's the beauty of sports betting is you don't have to bet everything. And to me, this is an automatic pass because I just don't know his situation. I don't think that's going to affect the casual bettor. They're going to come in and bet Kentucky anyway, aren't they?
Actually, this game is dead even.
Really?
The ticket count is almost absolutely identical, and the money is absolutely identical. You've got the people who are kind of Houston's a team that isn't as popular as some of the rest, and the public likes to get on that side. And then you've got the other side of the public who, it's Kentucky. We're going to bet Kentucky no matter who they're playing or no matter what the number is. So this is a tremendous two-way action game for the house.
And that leaves us with the game that people are going to be firing on the over, and I don't disagree with them because this is probably the most fun game of the Sweet 16 round. Auburn loves to get up and down the court. North Carolina loves to get up and down the court. This should be a blast.
It's going to be a blast, and Dave, the sharp guys totally agreed with you. This total opened 160.5. We're up to 164.5 now as the over money keeps coming in. It's as high as 165 in spots, and there's no reason to think this game won't be played at a breakneck pace. Not a lot of sharp interest in the side. The number opened 5. We're still at 5. Probably doesn't move too far. This is our biggest public avalanche game that we have. The ticket count's almost 4-1 on North Carolina. Public laying this without any thought at all.
I kind of agree with the public. I love this North Carolina team. They're my pick to win it all right now for what that's worth. But based on some of my previous predictions at this time of year, when we get to the Sweet 16 as to who's going to win it all, you might want to consider any of the other 15 teams. All right, let's talk a little NHL. Golden Knights. And this is really interesting stuff right now. Jeff, I don't know what to make of Fleury at this point. Is this just a rest that they're disguising as an injury, or is it actually an injury that fans need to be concerned about? it's getting concerning. They go into Colorado tonight off a couple of less than stellar games. I think they're going to win tonight.